All right, if everybody's on page 23, please. I'm not going to write them all out today. The problem before I work it with word problems. When I found last year, the biggest place we struggled were word problems. So I want to hit them well this year, so that way, especially when you do them throughout the year, but especially you know how to do them well. So part of today is we're just setting them up. We're not solving it. So like last week, when we were taking the words and making equations. Same thing today. We're just taking the words and putting them, setting up to solve, and then tomorrow we will solve them. So everybody will look at example 1 on page 23. It says translate the problem into an equation. It says Martha has twice as much money as Heidi. So I'm gonna write out key parts. Twice as much as Heidi. Together they have 36. So let's write down, what do we know we're talking about? We know we're talking about Martha, excuse me, and we're talking about Heidi. You know, Martha has twice as much as Heidi. So how much does Heidi have? Okay, but I mean, do we know? No. So we could say that's our variable, right? What variable? We could use any variable. Sometimes it's helpful on these problems. Let's just use the letter for her name. So if she has H, Martha has twice as much as her. So how much does Martha have? H. 2H. So 2 times H. Generally in algebra, you want to put the number, which is called the coefficient. I always spell it wrong. There might be 2. I think there's 2 F's. Out in front of the variable, and it's often you're going to see it be referred to as the lead coefficient. So 4x, we don't write it as x4. Okay. And then also with variables, I got off task here, but we want to put them in alphabetical order. So if you like get 4AB, we would say 4BA. It's not really different, but this is the way that is considered correct. All right, so Heidi has H dollars. Martha has twice as much of that, so she has 2H. What's that? 36. Together, they have $36. So how could we figure out total of these two? What operation could we do? We could add them together to find the total. So for total, or together, we're going to take Martha, we're going to add Heidi, and that's going to equal $36. So Martha's money plus Heidi's money together equal $36. So obviously from there we can go ahead and solve, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to then do the algebra to solve, but today you are just setting up the equation. What I recommend doing, like this one, writing out little bits in detail. You don't have to try and make the equation instantly. That's where we're going to make mistakes. Write out little parts or draw pictures. Okay. So example 2, same thing. It says translate the problem into an equation. A wooden rod, 60 inches long. I'm going to draw a picture. It's cut into 2 pieces. One piece is 4 inches longer, so I'm going to write down first, second. One piece is 4 inches longer than the other. So this short one is our, do we know how long it is? No. So it's X. The longer one is then 4 inches longer. How could we write that's length? 4x, it says x 4 longer, so 4 more. X plus 4. Long, so some of these words today, longer, shorter, more, less. These are subtract, and these are going to be plus. We have twice or things like that. Remember, that goes back to something. We didn't write down all these the other day. You need to think about them in terms of that. So now, how could we find, we know the total 60. How could we get the total using these 2 portions? X plus 4. So we got one piece, and then we're adding the other piece. Would it have been different if we wrote it this way? No. because addition is commutative, which means we can change the order. So again, then from here, tomorrow we can go to solve it. So you've got 2x4 equals 60. So all three of these, if you put it this way and don't see that answer in the back of the book, check and see if they combine the two variables. That might be your only thing. All right, so let's do one more. Turn over and look at number 6 on page 24. Number 6 says Brenda drove 3 times as far as Jan. She went 3 times as far. And then Brenda drove 24 more miles than Jan. So I'm going to write down 2 things. So 3 times Jan. And she also went 24 more than Jan. Okay, how much did Jan go? Anybody? What do we know about Jan? JX, whatever you want to call her. So now we could rewrite this for Brenda. 3 times x and x plus 24. So the distance Brenda went, so this is Brenda, is also the same that Brenda went here. So these 2 things are how far Brenda went. What do you know about those 2 things? They are the same, they're equal. So in between them, we could put 24. Okay. So then that could tell us, if we solve it, how far Jan went. And once we know how far Jan went, we know Brenda went 3 times as much. So that's what we're doing today. We are just taking the words, setting up one equation. You will only have one variable in each of these. Okay? You're not solving anything. We want to get in the habit of setting them up. Tomorrow we'll solve. Okay? So let's do on 24, 25, 1 to 19 odd. So not on 10 questions. In hard, we're just setting them up. We're not solving. So 10 questions on setting them up.